Dear Art Diary, I went into week 2 with a positive attitude, but I couldn't hold that up for very long. By day 3, it started to feel like too much work already. Day 4 was really hard, and I spent so much time on it that I didn't get anything else done, which made me feel lazy. I'm worried that I won't be able to achieve this goal. I'm also worried that I will achieve this goal because that means I'm just a slacker. Good news though, my World of Warcraft subscription expired so I can spend more time drawing. It's week 2, so let's go. First up, day 1, lips. My challenge for this week was to pick a facial feature to practice, also pencil work. In fact, I wanted to focus more on the pencil work as I am getting frustrated with how rough and messy my pencil strokes are. So that was actually the real goal for this week, and the challenge was to fill the pages with all the parts. I started the week with a willingness to try and slow down so I could concentrate better on my goal, and overall I am happy with the results. I was focused and actually spent more time than I intended, which I can see becoming a new problem, but hopefully I'll get onto that. Anyway, it took me a while, and by the last set of lips, I was actually quite tired, and I think it shows. In hindsight, I probably should have quit before that last one, but I had left a space open on the page and I really felt the need that I had to fill it. But this is actually a really good result for day 1. I'm happy with it. Next, on to day 2, and I drew noses. Again, overall, I think this is actually a really good result. I can really feel how much I need to slow down to focus on pencil work, and it's a different feeling while drawing than what I'm used to, which is trying to rush through it. It takes a conscious effort to remind myself to take my time and think about what I'm doing. And that's the part that feels different. It's almost like being in a different mode. It's a bit hard to explain, but I do hope to get used to it because I really notice the difference between the two ways of drawing, especially when I later did a sketch in my other main sketchbook and defaulted to my rushed, got to get it done as fast as I can mode, because as a result of that, the sketch is truly awful. And I haven't done a truly awful sketch to this degree in a while. Which is funny because before I started, when I sat down, I was thinking about what I learned about slowing down and taking my time, but I guess I just wasn't really in the right mindset at the time because I just ended up spending most of my time fixing all the mistakes that I was making, and which I couldn't do. The sketch is truly awful, and I actually had to close the sketchbook completely so I didn't accidentally see it when I was walking past it. But anyway, I could feel my energy and enthusiasm slipping away, and that ended up being all I did for the day. I was worried if I would have the energy for day 3. Now on to day 3, and I didn't feel like drawing at all, but I knew I had to push myself to do it. That was a challenge in itself. So, I wanted to achieve the longer term goal, which was to draw in the sketchpad every weekday for at least 3 months. Looking at the results, I think the ears are a little bit sloppy. I do like this one, and I think the bottom one, this one here, is the weakest, followed closely by the one next to it. I guess ears just really aren't fun to draw. I mean, I only draw them because we have them, but I don't think I've ever made ears the focal point. In fact, I'd rather cover them with hair than have to draw them in detail, but this page was all about drawing ears, and I really had to push myself to draw them because it just wasn't exciting. My only good thought about it was that I could get away with not drawing too many if I make them a bit larger on the page. I also think, like I said, it's sloppy. There are a few areas where the pencil is messed up, and looking at it now, I think I could have done a better job on the forms inside the ears. I was getting really tired by this point, and I was actually pretty worried about doing day 4, which I only had eyes left to do, and I knew that was going to be a huge task. And it was hard because I wanted to draw them as pairs and not single eyes on their own, because they are supposed to be part of the face and not their own subject for this exercise. And drawing eyes to make them look like they belong on the face is quite hard. My common mistakes are making one eye larger than the other or looking in separate directions. The most common mistake for me is actually mismatching the iris sizes and shapes. I do try to combat this by looking at the shapes around the iris to help me place them. I think my favourite set of eyes is this one and this one and this one. Well, actually, I like them all. I suppose the weakest ones are the first that I drew and the middle one. I consider the first one probably more warming up, I guess, and this bottom one was such a hard angle to draw because on the reference the eyes are making different shapes because of that angle. I did the best I could. The pencil work is getting better, I think. It's not where I want it to be yet, but I am addressing it now instead of overlooking it as I have done in the past. I really look forward to making more improvements over time moving forward. I mean, of course, I know that there will be setbacks, like that awful page in my main sketchbook, but we are on to better things. Now, day 5, last page for the week, and all that was left to draw were all the parts together, the face. Not really focusing on the head, but just the face. First off, I do like the page overall. I can see that I still have a long way to go to get things right, but it feels really good to be learning something and making progress even if it is slow. I had to start the top face twice. The first time it was way too big and I knew it was only going to get larger if I kept going, so I erased it back and tried again. Luckily it was only the outline, but even after doing that, it still grew a little bit larger than I intended. But other than that, I actually enjoyed drawing that profile. The second one, the middle one, is the best one, I think. I initially had some trouble with mismatching the size of the eyes, but ended up working that out. Doing the pencil work like this just feels different. It's a different skill. You think when you draw, obviously, you have to put something on the paper, but for me, it's been more about trying to make the face look like a face, for instance, instead of getting right into drawing the face. It's hard to explain. It's like going further into the scene instead of just looking at it. Yeah, I guess I can imagine it being like looking at a picture from the outside, which we all do, and we observe it, and then being in the picture and being able to have a good look around and experience it. I think I'm experiencing more of the drawing. I don't know if that makes any sense because honestly, I haven't had that before this week. It's nice. I kind of like it, slowing down to get into the drawing experience itself. But back to the page, and I think the bottom face was the hardest. It's also the messiest. It definitely could have been done better. It's all just a little bit off, but like I said, I'm really happy with this page. In summary, I did learn a lot this week. I learned what it feels like to slow down and focus on pencil work. I learned not to expect top results if I'm tired when I draw, and best of all, I learned that what I thought I would never be able to do in the past was absolutely something that I can work on if I put the effort in. I'm happy that I got this week done once again. I was able to push past not feeling like drawing and getting the job done. I'm happy that I know now that pencil work is something that I can achieve with practice. What I would like to do better is be more conscious of the workload that I'm giving myself and the time and effort it takes to get it done. Also, I would still like to get better and more efficient at getting the facial features down. There are still some issues there, and I'd like to be able to choose my own lighting as well. As for next week, while I would like to work on the lighting aspect very soon, I think the next subject is going to be drawing hair. Face optional. I'm choosing hair because that's a big part of drawing heads, and it's also the part that I get most impatient with. It takes up so much surface area and it actually seems really complicated. I want to find a process for getting it done with neater pencil work, and I think that's key. I think finding a process to do it will make the workload on drawing hair a lot easier, and then I can focus on being neater and doing more pencil work. At least one per page, obviously. If I can do more than one, then that's good, but I don't want to consume my whole day because I decided to draw half a dozen per page. 1 or 2, maybe 3 if it's a good day, but I'm going to stop if I start to get tired instead of making a shitty drawing because I don't have the energy left. So how did you go this week? Let me know in the comments if you tried this out or if you set your own goals and challenges this week. I'll put the reference file, the Pureref file, up for this next week once I have it planned out, and the link will be in the description. So with that, let's keep learning and keep drawing. Yay!